That would have been amazing. Oh, sadly, Top of the Pop's deceased, so no longer will we have that opportunity. And I think possibly Noam Chomsky, also gone no longer.
Bruno Brooks still alive.
Yeah. Ah, the tragedy. How life plays itself out. Okay, so another tune you're going to play for us. And no, what? No, I'm not saying that we wish Bruno well. I'm ill. I'm just saying if we had to choose between him and Normski, who I suspect is tragically not. Is he? He's all right, Normski. Is he? Yeah. Okay. Let's leave Brooks. Who'd have thought Brooks, Normski, and Noam Chomsky would have ever featured in the same sentence? That's got to be the first time. I love it when we hit upon a sentence that's never been said before in the history of mankind. All right, so you're going to play another tune for us. What's this one called?
It's called Keep Singing Out.
Okay, brilliant. Give it up. Get Kate Where Kate Fly live here on the Steve Show, and it's such a thrill, as I say, to have you here. Before we let you go, quick question from our panel here. These people represent perfectly the Six Music listener in every sense. Sammy's from the north and a woman, ticking 2 boxes. Sammy, what's your question for Sam?
I'm going to lean over Rufus's shoulder here. I've got a couple of questions because I am a bit of a fan.
Ooh, greedy.
Yesterday in the car, explaining how excited I was getting about this session to my mother, she was trying to remember the name and she said, "So when do I get the cape?" Does the name cause problems for you in different places, or...?
It's caused more problems than probably anything else I've ever experienced in my whole entire life.
Are you regretting it? Would it make more sense?
I am and I'm not.
Yeah.
I think it's... After explaining it maybe 30, 40 times in a week in Germany to different people, having to go from actions through to writing it down, through to all kinds of things. I mean... I think there's worse things to keep talking about every single day.
Sure.
And is it true that it's kind of off a gaming tips website, that it was something to do with
He's answered this question. He's just told us he's answered that for 40 times in a day in Germany.
Yes or no? Was it the header to a kind of discussion on a forum? Get cape, where cape, fly?
Not really. This story's kind of... It's what... You know when... something kind of evolves over time. I now wish that I'd have come up with something way more interesting than I like
Duckworth. I just think Duckworth would have been a great name, because you could have had an animated series, I think, called Duckworth, quite nicely.
Jack and Vera as well.
Yeah, or Sammy D.
Great backing singers.
Sammy D would have been good.
Sammy D and the Duckworths.
Sammy D and the Duckworths would have been brilliant. What was your question? Because you wanted to explain the name.
I know it's a really dull question. I'm just quite excited.
It's going to be bored. Stupid, surely. I do apologise.
There's an old computer. It was the day before a show, like the first ever gig. I was in a band before, and I thought I need a name. Like I wasn't too confident with going out with Sam Duckworth, especially it was like a punk show as well. So I thought maybe not the best idea. So I thought I'm going to find the most ridiculous name imaginable. And then, weirdly, the night before, there's this old computer game magazine. I don't even read computer game magazines, so I don't know why I was looking at it. But the subheadings were "Get Cape, Where Cape Fly," and I was like, right, I'm going to nick that, and I'm going to nick the logo and everything straight out of the magazine, and it's kind of stuck since.
Brilliant.
So whoever wrote that article, I owe him a drink, I think.
Well, you owe them probably more than that.
Yeah,
if you sold the logo, you probably owe them sort of serious cash from your first album. So, frankly, I don't know what you've done there, mentioning that. Rufus, question from you.
Rolf Harris's Wobbleboard. Sam was just telling us a story off air about having his guitar stolen after a gig and then being replaced by a beautiful, beautiful guitar, which I've been coveting since he came in. Can you tell us a story about how you got that Avalon guitar in your hands there?
I was Merthyr Tydfil was the place that we were playing, and I don't know if many people ever go to Merthyr Tydfil, and a couple of people in my band are from Wales, and I've got quite a few friends from Cardiff, and I said, we're going to Merthyr, and they're like, just watch your stuff. And I was like, don't worry, it's going to be cool, you know, there's enough of us knocking about, we'll be fine. And it's actually the second time I've had all my equipment stolen. The first time was in Oxford, which you usually would assume people would be quite nice there, riding bikes, not nicking laptops and people's bags. But I got all my guitars stolen. It was the first date of a 50-odd date tour. So for the first 3 days of the tour, we were just ringing up people that we knew in the city, saying, if you know anyone that's got a trumpet and has got a couple of guitars. The show the next night in Yeovil ended up borrowing 2 guitars from people, and someone's dad had a trumpet in the attic, which he ended up using. And then I wrote to Avalon, who made the guitars that got stolen, and I just said I really love them. Is there any chance you've got any more knocking about? And they're like, pop in and we'll make you some. And they made this guitar. It's number 2 serial model, and Bob Geldof's got number 1, so I felt quite good actually about it. I think getting the guitar stolen actually proved to be better than keeping them all along. I like it when stuff like that happens.
Thank you.
And Harry, question from you?
My question is, you say you started off doing stuff just on your own, and now you obviously got the band, and you talk about having like 100 people playing on the album. Do you envisage doing some kind of 5 nights at the Albert Hall with a cast of thousands with timpanists and tromboners.
Tromboners.
Oh, that is the official.
It would be
Have
fun.
you ever had a tromboner on stage?
I've never. I will say yes, I have actually.
Yes, yeah. We all have. We've all been there.
Yeah, from time to
Yeah.
time, you can't help it, can you?
Exactly.
Just when, yeah.
but the idea of a huge gig with all that going on, is that something that appeals to you?
I'd love to do it. I met a guy yesterday actually who made loads of instruments out of old parts of broken cars.
You don't want to go down that
And we were
road.
speaking to him about seeing if we could do a full gig using literally spending 6 weeks cutting up a car and then him making the instruments for us. And
You're going to end up like Tom Waits, you know. Everyone prefers Tom Waits' early stuff where he's at a piano. Now he's, playing old skulls to make his music. Just think, oh, for goodness sake, Tom. You don't want to go down that road.
Sing us a song about a sleazy bum bumming a cigarette off someone.
Yeah, exactly.
None of this
exactly.
clattering about, mate.
Yeah, he's like making music for grave diggers. Oh, for goodness sake, stop it. It's weird that you mentioned having a guitar stolen and it being mentioned in the same breath as Rolf Harris, because when I was at university, I remember Rolf Harris did a gig there. Now, I don't want to misquote Harris, but my memory of it is that Harris came on stage. This was before his kind of renaissance in Animal Hospital. He came on stage, and the first things he said was, and this is my memory, it might be playing tricks with me, but my memory is that he came on stage and went, right, who's nicked my effing jacket? Because someone had stolen his kind of... Were you there for that?
I was there and I remember it. He
And
did
that's-
say that.
yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Well,
He was furious.
Yeah, I know. Actually, apparently he's got a kind of novelty jacket that he wears, as you would expect Rolf to wear in any kind of given concert. Someone had nicked it. And, he was naturally furious. I think he still managed to play Stairway to Heaven,
Yeah.
He's an absolute pro. Don't think he didn't. And Two Little Boys. But, did he ever get that jacket back?
I think it was returned sheepishly by somebody, and then we named one of the meeting rooms in the student union after him, I believe. Rolf's. Remember Rolf's?
That's what
the
I was
meeting
named
room at
after
University of
Rolf.
Warwick. Yeah, named after Rolf.
Wow, this is brilliant. This is one of those anecdotes that's interesting to you and me. That's right. All right, listen, we have to go to the news, and thank you so much for having another final round of applause. Sam, we'll be back after the news. Dogs, of course, there goes the fear. It's Steve Show, BBC6 Music with me, Steve Merchant. Pressing the buttons now. I think a lot of people are very excited to find out that piece of information. Yeah?
Yeah, quite brave.
It's quite brave, isn't it? Well, it's in an effort to slowly save money here at the BBC. They will ultimately squeeze out both Jude and you guys. In fact, the idea that I could actually put you on computer, we were talking to Sam about the idea that if I could get you gang just with some sort of amusing, droll one-liners, I just press a button. What would you say if I just hit a button?
That was rubbish.
Exactly. Well, I think that does sum you up quite perfectly.
Yeah,
and
pretty
what's great
much.
about that is I could take that with you. I'd take that with me to the pub on a Friday night. 'Cause
Absolutely.
that's pretty much all you ever say.
Exactly. I could spend a lot more time at home enjoying myself and
Exactly.
still get paid, get royalties every time it was played.
Yeah. What do you think of the new government initiative to stop, homeless people being homeless?
That was rubbish.
Perfect. And Rufus, what would yours be?
I think it would be something like, you've summed the situation up perfectly. I don't know why.
It's great because it's all encompassing and it's
Yeah.
also very polite. It sits on the fence.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
it's what you want to hear as well.
Yeah. Should we do them clean for you just once so that Jude can maybe chuck them out, and then later
Yeah.
when you do fire us, you can just have us on A, B, and C, and just kind of punch a button and we'll come up with our line or something.
Yeah, I think that would be really useful. Of course, yours dangerous there, Rufus. If you were, if someone was having lunch with perhaps some racists, and they had not heard the love music, hate racism campaign, so they were still unconverted racists, and if they're just mouthing off about something particularly controversial, send them all back, and then you say.
Yeah. You have summed the situation up perfectly.
You see, it would be very, very
Yeah, it
tricky. You
would
get
be
yourself in all kinds of
Particularly if they
hot
said
water.
hate music, love racism, which
Exactly.
is something that'd be very dangerous, wouldn't it?
I wonder if the love racism, hate music is that campaign, is it preaching to the converted? I'm wondering if there are many enemy readers who are currently racists who are changing their
A lot of the racists, they've got their own bands that they go to see, haven't they?
That's true.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure that we listen to a lot of the anti-racist bands.
No, that's what worries. That's what worries me, mate. If we can get some of the racists on side, get them to go around, loved racism, no, hate racism, and just keep it like that. You love racism, no, hate racism. That's a great banner.
Let's get them in for a session.
And Sammy, what was your catchphrase be?
It would probably be something like, and that's when I fell down and landed in some dog poo.
Oh,
Yeah,
perfect.
it'd be something along those
Great.
lines.
Well, that's all we need. We'll have them
That's it.
recorded for next week, and then we don't need you guys to come in. Perfect. You just want to mention something because I know we've been seeking out Rufus's advice on all kinds of gentlemanly queries, but you say you had one for the gentlewoman.
Yes, a gentle womanly query. I was at a party in a bar in Newcastle a couple of weekends ago. It was a gay bar, that's fine.
Yeah.
It was actually really nice. I'll probably frequent there again if they get the locks fixed. And that's what I'm about to go on to. I was in the toilet, literally midstream. The door opened. I had properly locked that toilet door. A girl walked in and said, "Don't mind me." Really blasé, started putting her lipstick on. I'm thinking, I'm having a wee here. I don't know how to react to this. This is quite on. At that point, she turned round and went, "Didn't you used to be on Biker Grove?"
Wow.
I literally didn't know what to do or say, and I thought, I can't escape. I'm obviously in the weaker position. I'm just going to have to go, "Yeah, can I be your friend? Oh, this is really funny." Still weeing, still couldn't do anything about that. And then, how do you stand up? How do you sort yourself? It was horrendous. The door opens again. Some Australian girl comes in. She's a tourist. She doesn't know the area. Not at all fazed by the fact that someone sat on the toilet midstream. Starts chatting away, and I'm thinking, this is actually getting worse. This couldn't be worse. And then the girl sits in. "Do you know who she is? Do you know who she is there? She used to be on Biker Grove." I'm thinking, of course she doesn't know who I am. This is awful. I eventually get out the toilet, and I'm dragged by this new female who knew who I was to all of her friends who were upstairs. "You'll never guess who she is. She was on Biker Grove." And they all turned around to me and went, "So?" I'm thinking, I didn't ask for this. I didn't bring it up. How do I react to this? And, you didn't watch it. No, it was awful, wasn't it? I didn't know what to do with myself. I felt awful.
Now, I just need to ask a quick clarification question. Did they open the door of the cubicle you were in?
It wasn't a cubicle. It was literally in the bar. There's a door.
Right.
And if you open the door, everything's in there. The toilet, the sink, the mirror. It is just one toilet.
Right.
But someone later told me they have false locking doors.
They have false locking doors?
So you think you've locked it as a punter, as a stranger has come in off the street, so someone can then join you for maybe some...
Whoa!
Yeah.
Slow down, it's Mother's Day.
Exactly.
No mother needs to hear that.
But obviously me, unsuspecting, didn't know that. Happily having a word.
Did it not occur to you to say, sort of, "Pardon me, but I'm just in the middle of something"?
I didn't know what to do. By the point she'd said you were off and would entered into a dialogue. And,
Right.
And she was all right with me, and she was just doing her lipstick, and I thought,
Yeah.
like, I can't... It was just a horrible situation to find yourself.
What I love about this dilemma is it's so specific. It couldn't possibly ever be some advice that anyone else could ever use.
I just wish if I'd had Rufus at hand, what should I have done? What should have been decorum?
Well, Sammy, the problem with this dilemma is I think most of the dilemmas that I've been dealing with on the show so far have been very quickly distilled to a root problem. You know, you have to trust the other person, you have to do this, you have to... We've got to take the story way back to whoever invented false locking doors.
Exactly.
Whoever, you know, that's where this story starts. If there was no false locking door, we'd be all right. This would never have occurred, I'm assuming. It reminds me of, and unfortunately I can't remember the name of the writer, but being asked a gentlemanly question about such an extraordinary situation, it's a bit like this writer who was asked what it was like in the trenches of the First World War, and he said, "My dear, the people and the noise," which is rather my response to going to a gay club in Newcastle and having false locking doors. I've no idea where to start. The barriers have to go right down when you're in this position. You just have to say, "I'm sorry, please close the door. I can't talk to you," right? You know, you have to. There's no time for kind of chivalry or politeness in a situation like this. They've broken down the final barrier of privacy.
See, that part I didn't want to see rude. I didn't... If she found it acceptable to be in a dialogue with someone who was weeing, should I then feel... Do you have to lower your barriers, your decorum, to match the person who you're in the situation with?
Well, that's an old military standby, isn't it? The terms of engagement are set by the enemy. You know, if one of them pulls a knife, you pull a gun. It's that. So yeah, in a way, you do have to engage in conversation, but as briefly, as swiftly as possible.
Wasn't that Sean Connery's advice in The Untouchables?
It was. I didn't do the accent, but yes.
Yes, you've tried to suggest that you've known that from your years of military experience.
Yeah.
Actually, just watch Sean Connery in The Untouchables. That's nice. Okay, well, there you are. I hope that's been of some help to you, Sammy.
It really has.
Good,
I should
great.
flag up, by the way, if your query hasn't been answered by me on air, I did answer some of them on the website. So if you go to the bbc.co.uk